Hello, everyone. It is the ZD YouTube crew here. It's Gooey, Corey, and McKenna. Hey, McKenna.
Hello.
And we just saw earlier that 10 minutes, was it 10 minutes, 15 minutes of gameplay?
Roughly 10 minutes.
Aonuma was nice
roughly.
and showed off a little bit of gameplay for Tears of the Kingdom. So we're going to be talking about it. And as you can see, Nico couldn't make it today.
Oh my goodness. I'm getting something. I'm getting a vision of a nook, a specific nook.
Nook? Why don't you show us?
All right, welcome to Nico's Nook. Today, I'm going to be telling you a little bit about my thoughts of the gameplay trailer for Tears of the Kingdom, the newest installment of the Legend of Zelda series. Now, in the gameplay, we saw 4 brand new abilities. We've got Recall, Fuse, Ultra Hand, and Ascend. Fuse and Ultra Hand are incredible because you get to use them in the overworld to combine things, which is this new idea of crafting that Zelda has needed, in my opinion, for a very long time, and it's going to feel so concise and clean in the gameplay experience that we're already familiar with, so this is going to be incredible. And on top of that, Recall and Ascend are going to be perfect for exploration, but I'm curious to see the way that you could battle with Recall. I almost feel like you'd be able to use it to attack. I'm really curious about that one, and I think it's going to be very fun. Overall, we saw a little backpacking Korok. We saw some new construct enemies that look really exciting. The Sky Islands are beautiful. The diving, just all of it incredible. 10 out of 10. I cannot wait. Tears of the Kingdom, here I come. That was Nico's Nook signing off.
Wow. Unexpected Nook.
Yeah.
The
Surprise nook.
Nico's Nook will show up when you least expect it.
Yeah.
So, one of the main things that Nico talked about, and it's obviously the big thing they were showing off, was all the different new abilities that are in this game. And I thought the biggest one, the standout one from this, I think, is the fusing mechanic, because it seems like a lot of things are built around this.
Oh yeah.
For me, that was like probably the most interesting thing about the whole presentation. What did you both think about it?
Yeah. I like all those new abilities. I'm wondering if like those are the only ones. I think maybe they might be. I wouldn't be surprised if they are, but if we get other ones, that would be cool too. But it seems like they really just took inspiration from all those people doing janky stuff in Breath of the Wild with like
absolutely
flying machines and stuff, and they were like that, but an actual mechanic. So I think like with the fuse stuff and obviously Ascend changing the way that you can like traverse different areas, and with Ultra Hand being able to like piece those things together, kind of like we were theorizing with the Goddess Goo, putting little vehicles together with the Goddess Goo. I think this is shaping up to be like a full blown sandboxy like experiment with a bunch of different things kind of game, which is getting me very excited.
What did you think about the any of the abilities, I guess, McKenna?
So when Tears of the Kingdom was first announced, I made a wish list, a Tears of the Kingdom wish list, which at the time was called Breath of the Wild sequel wish list.
Right.
And I made one each year around June.
I remember those.
Often after a new trailer or gameplay showcase. And we talked about it on the Zelda cast. And two of these abilities very specifically cover some of the things on my wish list, which are the weapon crafting system. I think the fusing goes like above and beyond what I had in mind. So I'm really excited for that. I definitely want to see what I can do with some swords. I was saying earlier, I would really like to fuse some gems with a sword.
Oh,
I think that would be so cool.
Like a topaz long sword or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be nuts.
and the Ultra Hand, the
Yes.
yeah,
Ultra
the
Hand.
non-weapon crafting system. Oh my god, when I saw him making a boat, I got so excited because that was another thing that was specifically on my wish list, is like a boat crafting system.
Yes.
Yeah.
McKenna's just gonna spend the whole game just making different types of boats and just
Yeah.
sailing across the lakes.
Boating
I'm gonna have like a
simulator.
whole ship.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make this the sequel to Wind Waker that we deserve.
Do you think you can make like a yacht-sized boat?
Oh my
like
God.
one that takes up the whole pond.
Someone's gonna. I mean, that's gonna be one of the first things people try, right?
That's what I'm thinking. When I watched this, I was like, this is gonna be Breath of the Wild all over again, where we're just gonna see people doing
Yeah.
insane things with these abilities.
Oh,
That
for
is
sure.
something that I actually like. That's kind of comforting because I know something that other people I've seen like are still kind of questioning is like, is it different enough, specifically in regards to the overworld? And I feel like they're leaning so heavily into the just play around with the mechanics, try your own things, that like I'm not even worried about that very much because it's gonna feel super different regardless.
Well, I am one of those people like with the world. Like
I knew
you
it.
brought it up before I was gonna get to it,
Pessimist
but
too.
it's not a pessimist. It's just a feeling that I have looking at. Like we were talking about it today when you asked, like, did you recognize, where it
Yeah.
started off on the ground? And I was pretty sure I was just watching on my phone at work, but I was pretty sure like that I knew that exact spot. And I can't say right now because I'm not playing the game. It's just a feeling I have. So I don't like. It's more of just a question in my own mind. I'm not like when I play it. Am I gonna feel this way, or will like whatever's going on supersede that? Because there is different stuff to like see, but the gameplay of like building things and all that stuff will be new and unique. But I don't know. It just might. I don't know if it's a feeling I'll be able to shake in the back of my mind, but we'll see. That could all go away like as soon as I start playing. You know what I mean?
Where are you
Not trying to be a
falling at, McKenna?
naysayer.
Well, I think a lot of the stuff will and is supposed to be familiar. I think we're supposed to be, not exploring a completely different world. Some of it is supposed to evoke, that familiarity, maybe nostalgia, but certain things will be changed. The way we interact with the world will be very different. And I don't see the return of things we're familiar with as a negative.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. For
I
me,
think-
part of the exploration is like just even seeing aspects of the world for the first time, like yourself, is just something that stuck out in Breath of the Wild to me. So being like, oh, there's like big desert over here. Like it's a little thing, but it that for me does add a lot to it. So yeah,
That's fair. I mean, it's a game about exploration, but like I'm really not that worried about it like at all, because I feel like
well, Aonuma assured us that it'll be different.
well, yeah, I mean,
I like how he was like, "Don't worry, it'll be fine."
he did.
I think we're
he
still
did-
getting
Yeah,
a
I
lot
think
of
it's gonna
new.
be different enough. He did start the video by saying, "You may notice some things have changed, but it would take all day to talk about everything that's
right.
changed." And then he literally ended it as well with like, "You'll be returning to an unfamiliar Hyrule." So it's definitely gonna be familiar, but I feel like it's gonna scratch that itch of like, a lot of times people have talked about like potential, what would a post game be like in a Zelda game, right? Where you can come back and see like what happens to the kingdom like after the journey's done. And I think this is going to scratch an itch kind of like that, because there are things that we have seen of the very little portions of the overworld we've actually seen up close that like are different. Like the shrines are gone, towers are gone, guardian remains are gone, but like you see small portions of like building up a little site thing. Like there were a couple in this showcase of like little wooden platforms with walls and signposts where it's like it looks like they're constructing something. And I think it'll be cool to see like how the kingdom story-wise has tried to like move on from the Great Calamity. But like even besides that, the Sky Islands look ginormous, and I think the fusing and the making your own vehicles and the exploring the Sky Islands with the Ascend, and if there's potential like cave systems, I just think I'm not worried. I think it's going to be different enough.
Well, it's just a feeling in the back of my mind that I can't shake, and this didn't shake it. So,
I don't think it will be shaken until the game comes out.
Yeah,
I think 5 minutes into the game, it's going to be shaken.
We'll see. I'm not naysaying, but one thing that made me think about that is how even more like with all the new abilities, especially that one that lets you go through the ceilings and right up to the top, like it's almost like in a lot of situations that'll like negate things like climbing, you know, and so it almost is like the world is I don't know, it doesn't seem like there will be even less of limitations like in the world to explore. So it almost is like, you know, that's just crazy to me, because it seems like now it's like you want to get up there, no problem. You want to get over there, you can build a car. And so that's why I think like maybe that feeling of exploration will also be limited, just because like compared to Breath of the Wild, which you could go anywhere and do anything, like you seem even more unhindered here. Whereas like part of Breath of the Wild was also partially, I think, a little bit about like survival. And I don't know if that's as much of an element here, because you'll be building like, you know, rocket ships and stuff. So We'll see.
That's kind of why. Like, I agree with you actually that like it does seem like it's going to be a little bit less. You'll be less tethered to like, look at that place over there. I have to route out my path and walk there and then glide here and then climb up this amount. I think that's going to negate some of that feeling of like, oh, I've already been here. So like you're not going to have to worry about climbing up all of Dueling Peaks just to get to the top anymore. And in addition to that, like if you can go into an underground cave and like Aonuma said in the video, literally just like swim through it up to the top, like the way that you're traversing this overworld, whether it's in like a flying car or through a mountain, like it's going to be such a different method that it's not going to feel the same. You know, even if it's like similar locations. And that's something that I wanted to, I was trying to pay attention to some like little small details and see what little things I could grab. One of the things I noticed, particularly in the Sky Islands, there are little icons on the map that at first I thought they looked like little houses with doors, but they actually mark entrances to caves. Like specific, when in that section when he's demonstrating, you can walk into this cave and go all the way up to the top. You can see on the minimap there are like 3 different spots in that general vicinity that have little markings that show you can enter a cave system here. So if that is something that's also implemented like on the surface, like that would be wild. I didn't see any on the surface, but that would be pretty crazy.
He did say something like there will be some limitations, and I feel like that's an asterisk for me a little bit too, because it made me think of how in like Breath of the Wild you go in shrines and like you can't do certain things, or like that always kind of like annoyed me a little bit. Like you couldn't use,
like you can't climb the shrine walls and stuff.
Yeah, you can't climb. Was that it? I felt like there was like one other thing. Maybe that was it. It felt like different rules to the world, just so they could make it work here. And so I'm hoping, like, I don't know. I hope there's less limitations like that. But obviously you'd have to design things differently, but yeah, I'm curious about that. One thing I wanted to bring up was the old runes. Like, what are those do you think we'll see come back Because one thing I noticed, and actually I saw Moss today at work. And so I'll give a shout out to Moss. And one thing he mentioned was when they show the part where they build the boat, like, you know, a lot of people's first thought probably was just like, oh, let's just Cryonis over there. And so I'm wondering, like, will that be back, or, you know, what's going to come back? It seems like magnesis is not necessary anymore.
Yeah.
But bombs, I think we've seen. But
bombs, that's true.
I don't know. Are we gonna see all the runes, or what? Are they gonna cut some? What's going on?
What do you think, McKenna?
I have two different thoughts on the old runes, and those are, I've always thought that there's a chance that we're playing in two different time periods in this game. So I'm wondering if maybe the runes will be in one time period and these new abilities will be in another. Or
that'd be interesting.
We still haven't seen Zelda outside of these cutscenes where she's falling. And I know she has the Sheikah Slate in,
yeah, that's true.
You know, every promotional thing we've seen of her, so maybe that's Zelda's thing now. I don't know if, you know, maybe she'll be along to help out at all, or not totally convinced on the playable character thing, but maybe.
So that would be pretty wild if it's like you cut back and forth and like Zelda's like underground somewhere and she has all the runes and like she's doing her own thing. That would be pretty wild.
She's pretty good. She's pretty good at the Sheikah Slate, as we've learned from Age of Calamity.
She's shown her expertise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that seems more plausible to me than your other theory, just because unless those segments were shorter, it feels like, you know, they'd want to have the new runes be like their major showcase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think they would want to like introduce the new stuff and then like take it away for certain sections, but if Zelda's a playable character, I don't know, who knows, maybe. I think they're gone, to be honest. I think like the old runes are like they've gone the way of the dodo, because Ultra Hand seems literally like Ultra Magnesis and like the same thing but better, and like you can even rotate stuff, which like you couldn't do in that way with Magnesis. And like I don't know, if I can make a flying moped to get across a lake, I don't need Cryonis. Who cares?
That's true. Well, it depends on how quick you can make it, because, you know, if I'm like lining everything up and putting the fans on, like by the time you've done that, one thing it made me think of actually was the rafts in the original. Obviously, these will be jet powered. That's what I thought too. But those always seemed cool. But then I'm like, it just takes too long. Like, I'm just gonna Cryonis. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna take that raft. And I'm wondering, like, I do have sort of feeling like when I'm building my 30th boat, if I'll be like, all right, I've built this boat enough. Like, I wonder, they should make a thing where you can like save your design and just be like, I call upon my boat.
Just summon it.
Bonus rune.
Yeah, that's the extra ability.
The master cycle. you can summon that.
Yeah.
That's the Fortnite build function.
But that I could see also, I said there would be no limitation, but I could see, you know, I think one of the things we could probably expect in the game is these obstacles being put up. Like we saw that crazy tornado or whatever. And then like we're given, you know, an opportunity to like build a vehicle, you know, a helicopter or something to overcome whatever obstacle, you know, use your imagination.
Yeah.
It's obviously the game's not going to be all just goof around and build stuff. So I'm excited to see like what it just makes me think of. Like I would hope to see something like originally when they showed off Breath of the Wild. It's like you can climb over here, you could cut this tree down and make a bridge, you could go up this way, but you gotta you know, be warm or something, you know. Like I hope to still see that sort of stuff, like a thing where you need like you can come up with your own solution through crafting or whatever.
Yeah. We were talking in the Discord a little bit today about like how in Breath of the Wild they used like that weather mechanic, specifically temperature, to kind of like create gates for your progress, and they use it in a smart way because it's like there are multiple solutions to the problem, but it's still like you need to solve the solution before you get access to this area. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to explore for long enough. So I think they're smart when they design games like this. I think that's probably what a lot of this time has gone into, is like kind of balancing how this crazy system works and like how you unlock the world. And I think that would be cool if it's something like you said, where you see that big floating thing in the sky and you're like, all right, well, let me make my 14th floating moped. And then you get up there and it just blows you away. So you need to figure out a different way to make like a stronger one to get there. Or, and this is something that I was kind of getting, that was making me think about, which we haven't really talked about much yet, is the recall ability, where you use one of the fallen pieces to actually get up to the Sky Islands, and then you can like, float over to other ones. So that was making me think about like, if you don't have that capability to go everywhere all the time, all at once, whenever, I think it would be interesting to be like on a Sky Island and see one that's maybe like higher up and farther away, and you're like, how do I get to that one? And then you have to kind of like search around on the surface to see if there are any fallen pieces that can get you up there. Mm-hmm. Sort of like a roundabout way of like accessing a new area. Like, oh, I need to go see if there's any rubble on the ground that I can use to get up there, and then maybe it'll give me a vantage point to float over to this island and stuff.
You did say, like, I'll hope you'll try different ways to get up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Still don't know what those green swirly things are.
No? What do you...
We
green
saw
swirlies? Any theories, McKenna?
I don't. I don't know. Some kind of interaction. I mean, there's definitely Zonai in this game.
I saw the word Zonai.
We did see
Zonai charge.
Zonai charge, yeah.
Confirmed. There's no question anymore. This is Zonai stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Including the constructs, which were cool. Those little guys. The
constructs. They're interesting. Something that those clearly look like they're made by the Zonai or whatever, or they are the Zonai, and they clearly connect to some of the other things we've seen in other trailers, like that big, like frog Igor looking guy, Mm-hmm. But something I also noticed, there's a small point in this trailer, I think a couple points actually, where like Link passes by NPCs that are constructs. Like he passes by one that's called a ranger construct, but it's not an enemy. So I'm like, why are some of them good and some of them bad? Like, what's going on here?
We were just talking about this. I rewatched the trailer before we did, or the gameplay before we did this, and I was like, that guy, he's just chilling there. He's not fighting. He's just doing some work. What's up?
Yeah.
It looks like you can say hi to him.
In that section, when he shows off the ascend function, you walk into the cave. There's literally one just sweeping the ground, like it lives there or something.
Yeah, it gave me Skyward Sword ancient robot vibes.
Yeah,
like it's the same thing too. Like it's the back in, the ancient technology kind of thing.
Maybe we'll get Construct Scrapper back.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Are we gonna figure out what happened with the Zonai?
I feel like that would be kind of crazy if they didn't give us something. That would be kind of... Yeah. It would also be kind of funny, though, if they're just like, this is all Zonai stuff, and they explain none of it.
No Zonai. No Zonai info.
I feel like that's the thing they might do. They're just be like, yeah, this was the Zonai. Something happened to him. We're building stuff.
I feel like we got to get something. Because, like, especially... of like the Zonai stuff that we see in Breath of the Wild, it's like, aren't they the tribe that's responsible for like the barbarian armor and stuff? Like, aren't those?
I don't know.
Aren't the descriptions of those like? I thought maybe it says something about like an ancient tribe. Maybe it wasn't the Zonai, but like, I don't know. I didn't get the. At playing through Breath of the Wild, I'm not thinking, yeah, these guys are futuristic robot people.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe the constructs are the Zonai.
Mysterious.
Twist.
Yeah, I think they could be.
Well, it was pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. Do either of you have any other thoughts you wanted to get out there before we wrap it up?
I have one.
Okay.
I have two. One is
fine. Go for it.
Did you
say them both?
Another little thing that you kind of just skate by in the beginning of the showcase, but Link runs by a Korok that's saying something like, "I need to get back to my friend." So do we think that's like a Korok seed thing, or just like a side quest thing? Is that how we're gonna get side quests? Just like some people like, "Hey, I need help with this thing."
Like you pick up the Korok and bring him with?
Maybe.
He's got like a giant backpack.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Nico mentioned that. We've mentioned it in the video already, but Nico brought it up. Any thoughts on the Korok, McKenna?
I don't know. I just thought like, oh, the Koroks are out here now. They're like, I don't know. We found them all, and now they're just wandering around.
We found them all, and now they're just living in the world.
There's 900 of them, and they all have some silly quest.
There are 900 Korok side quests.
Yeah.
There's probably like 5 varieties of them.
It's like they're all like, "I need you to bring me to my friend," and you bring them all to the same place, and there's just a giant Korok party.
Their friend?
Yeah, their friend. Their friend in the Great Deku Tree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to say, probably the most important thing in the whole trailer, Beetle is back, baby.
Yes.
We see him.
Yeah.
He's sitting up next to that stable. He's got his big backpack on. He's ready to go.
Well, I think Moss also pointed this out to me at work. Thank you, Moss. I was on my break though, so it was okay. It wasn't interrupting or anything.
Sure.
Okay.
I was. But Moss pointed out at that stable, the 2 of the NPCs that are there, they're 2 little kids, and he said like they might be the same model as the kids already there. So like, that's one thing I was thinking about is like, when you're saying like this might be a post-game world, I'm wondering like how far is it, if those are the same 2 kids, you know what I mean? Like
They just have the same dialogue as Breath of the Wild.
Now that would be ridiculous. Moss was like, suggesting what if the opening cutscene is like the ending cutscene of Breath of the Wild? Like it's just like, wow, we did it, and then as they're walking away, like something else happens.
Oops.
Can't catch a break.
Also at that stable, there's a dog, and let's hope we can pet it this time.
Doggo.
Was that your number 2 thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. They better add petting, yeah. Well, maybe with the hand.
You pet it with the Ultra Hand?
Yeah.
You can pick it up and rotate it around.
Can you rotate the dog?
Can I make a dog car?
I don't want to know the logistics of this.
Do a dog sledding?
Literally, yeah.
Like get a raft and then attach it to the dog.
Attach the dog with the goo to the front of it.
The goo. McKenna, was there anything else that stood out to you that you wanted to get in?
I was just noticing some of the icons going on the screen, and there's like, we saw when they were doing the fuse that you could like quick select the ingredients, but I think there's also outside of that there was like an apple icon with the up button, so I think we're just gonna have quick select for stuff now and not have to go into the menu to eat 10 apples.
Yeah, that is nice.
there's coordinates on the minimap
Oh yeah, yeah.
now.
Minecraft
So we get
style.
the XYZ. And I'm curious about the yelloh trees on the Sky Islands that
Yeah,
we
not
don't
gonna
see
find
very
those on the
often on the surface.
Those are sky trees.
Yes, sky
I
yellow
wa-
sky trees.
I wonder if that's a thing where like that's a hint he's suggesting, but I think it's more likely that they're just showing off. Like,
You think
did you
he's
notice
just, like,
it's different?
I
these trees
kind
are
of thought
yellow.
like, oh, this is like a different kind of forest. You're gonna find different materials around here, which there are different mushrooms that aren't in Breath of the
Oh, okay.
Wild.
My mind automatically went to like lore stuff, but that's wishful thinking that they're actually gonna explain it. I'm thinking like I see those sky islands and I think of like the old concept artwork showing like the sacred realm from A Link to the Past, where there's like crazy islands floating around. Like
That's
that'd
what
be
I thought when I saw like Skyloft for the first time too. I
Yeah.
was like, whoa.
Yep. Actually, I also wanted to touch on it because we touched on it, but we kind of breezed by it. Just the fusing capabilities, specifically when it comes to weapons, like that. I feel like that's a really good response to breakable weapons, which obviously are back. But now it's not an issue of pick up a weapon, use it until it breaks, and then you're done. It's pick up a weapon, fuse it with more stuff to either make it more durable or more strong, or can we make our own elemental weapons? We saw that we could do it with ice arrows, and just seeing like how so many different items fuse together to make different weapons. Like I'm super curious how complex that's going to be, because my mind automatically went to Breath of the Wild cooking. Once everyone discovered that you can cook and you can just take ingredients and throw them into the pot and see what happens, and that there are like hundreds of different options, like it's like cooking but with weapons, you know?
Now we're cooking.
now we're cooking.
It seems like it'll be like you put one thing on another thing, and it reminds me of like and Kirby on the N64, where you could combine different abilities.
Combine the abilities.
See what happens. Yeah. So that'd be cool. Sorry, McKenna, you were going to say something else. Then Corey rudely.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just noticing some of the structures on the Sky Islands. Like, there's this like big, tall building, which may have been a building we've seen in a trailer before. I also saw structures that look like they could be possible dungeons or parts of dungeons. There's one
Nothing
point where
about
we
dungeons,
get like
yeah.
a brief glimpse of like an arena, and it looks like that like stone enemy that we saw in the last trailer is chilling in that arena. So I'm wondering if that's like a dungeon area and that's a boss or something.
Yeah, no word on dungeons. Be curious to see what happens with that. I don't know. All right, well, yeah, it was great. It was great to get together with the two of you and talk about this. Obviously, we're pretty excited about it. Nico's obviously excited about it. I'll put the link. I think Nico did a whole like live reaction to this, so I'll put a link in the description for that over on Twitch. But this might invalidate. I haven't even put it together yet, but we did after the last Tears of the Kingdom trailer, we asked for questions for a mailbag that we recorded recently about Tears of the Kingdom. And I don't. Well, this is all just, we didn't predict a lot of this, but I wonder what it'll invalidate. I guess I'll see when I go through and edit it. But until then, I guess leave us more questions for our mailbag about Tears of the Kingdom, because then, we can get some up-to-date topics on it.
Yeah. Now knowing what we know now.
Yeah, everyone's hyped. Everyone's excited. We're how many days away? We're pretty close.
We're close.
We're close.
Close, yes.
We're close days away.
All right, well, thanks for everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.